Desha Bhashalandu Telugu Lisa. The common adage goes that suggests Telugu is the sweetest language of the country. Is it a language or music? Even Rabindranath Tagore wondered for its use of vowels in the ending, much like Italian, fetching Telugu the title of Italian of the East. No wonder it is the language that suits best for Hindu gods and mythological characters on the silver screen, making mythological cinema one of the distinct signatures of Telugu movie industry. The impact and adrenaline rush you have watching Shivagami's roar, Katappa's dilemma, Komaram Bhim's determination, and Bahubali's strength is no match in watching the same films in Hindi or any other language. It is the language of Chanda Mama, the erstwhile forerunner of Amar Chitrakatha, that was first created and published in 1947 by leading Telugu film producers B. Nagareddy and Chakrapani, who were also famous for making mythological fantasies under the banner of Vijaya Vauhani. Chanda Mama that got famous in Bengal as Chad Mama or Ambuli Mamam in Tamil, introducing us to the stories of Vikram Betal, Birbal, and other historical and mythological characters of ancient India. So you see, the connection between mythology and fantasy in Telugu cinema is as old as the independence of this country, establishing Telugu to be the language of the gods of the Indian silver screen. It is only with the rise of OTT, availability of English subtitles for Telugu films, and its recent merge of myths with modern technology that Telugu cinema has been the talking point of cinephiles across the globe, a deserving acknowledgement of a phenomenon that has been carried on for long before the likes of S.S. Rajamouli or Nagashwin took it to the global stage. In this video essay, we will discuss the politics and impact of mythologicals and fantasies in Telugu cinema and how the new blockbuster Kalki 2898 AD mostly fits the bill. The politics of mass mobilization. Mythologicals filled with action, romance, drama was a hit in cinema since the start of the journey of the medium in this country. It could amass people in multitudes thanks to its strong focus on family construct, ideas of virtue and guilt, and contextual pre-reading and pre-understanding that was already within the Indian family audience. After introducing his 1950s Shavakaru, a social drama, Nagi Reddy once again collaborated with a certain Nandamuri Taraka Ramarao as his hero in Pathala Bhairavi, a genre-defining fantasy film. NTR would go on to become one of the most successful leading men of South Indian cinema and also serve as the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh for 7 years over 3 terms. NTR played God to perfection for over decades before he launched his party, and one cannot ignore the impact of these roles for his image in politics. He lacked the political background like MGR, but it was purely based out of these roles that established his popularity. By January 1983, when NTR became the CM of Andhra, he had acted in a total of 289 films with 42 mythologicals, 55 folklore and 11 historical. His capacity to speak pure Telugu also worked in favor of his image of godhood, a signature of this genre of cinema. With Mayabazar, Danavira Surakarna, Nartanashala or Lavakusa, NTR had become a must for speech-centered mythological films, and it was impossible to conceive such a movie without him in a key role, thus allowing the man a unique claim over embodying Telugu-ness. The star's voice and dialogues were so popular, leading to a phenomenal circulation of LP records and then audio cassettes. Mimicry artists, both amateur and professionals, recited his divine speeches for years to come, and thus NTR gave an impression that he's just walking out of the screen for the electoral contest, as his campaign styles could easily be attributed to the theatre and cinema, fetching him the nickname of Drama Rao and his rallies as Cinema Janam, crowd of film viewers. The masses were not only in belief of the star to be a savior in real life like in cinema, but were also bound by the emotional connect and performative excesses of his films, as members of one nation under a screen patriarch. So Vajanti movie's mammoth investment in Kalki franchise isn't out of thin air or just a blind attempt at pursuing the success of Avengers, Dune or Mad Max franchises, but a continuation of the legacy of Telugu cinema, which has always been instrumental in mass mastering, be it for political or commercial reasons, by converting the spectator into a devotee. The politics of protest. If one film is to be marked out as NTR's definitive political turn, it must be Sardar Paparayudu, involving an anti-colonial rebel who becomes a powerful political figure in post-independence India and continues his rebellion. The film ends with voiceover that suggests that we need more heroes like Sardar who can punish all those who have betrayed the promise of independence. The film also has intertextual reference to V. Ramachandra Rao's Alluri Sitaramaraju, a source of inspiration for the state of Andhra in subsequent phases of nationalist movement. The political significance of the film wasn't so subtle, made few years after the agitations of a separate Telangana and Andhra states, posing Alluri Sitaramaraju as a major icon of Naxalite movement, as lyricist Sri Sri poses him as the Telugu hero in Telugu Veera Levara song. In 1977, NTR appears in Rama Rao Tatineni's Yamagola as the honest and energetic village president, Satyam, who lands up in Yamlok upon death. Satyam's political speeches for Yama's workers parody communist parties and their strong and direct criticism to the emergency that landed upon on India only a couple of years back. The workers march in protest as Satyam sings Yama Urgency Makika Vadu, no more of Yama's anarchic rule and emergency for us. Later in the film, there's also a reference to the Yuva Neta and his mass sterilization program, reminding us of Sanjay Gandhi. We hope you get the inspirations for Rajamouli's RRR and Yamadonga as we now talk about an interesting instance of female liberation from the mythologicals, something not that common in Telugu cinema. And guess what? It comes from the 1957 Maya Bazaar by K.V. Reddy, perhaps the most popular Telugu classic and a film that equated NTR as the screen Krishna. The film, based on stories of Mahabharata, focuses on Shashi Rekha in love with Abhimanyu, while her family pushes her to marry another man. Krishna intervenes, as he puts, a transfigured Ghatotkach as Sasi Rekha for her family, while she elopes with Abhimanyu. This act of defiance was path-breaking for the Telugu audience, used to watching female characters in coy personas. It was the 1950s, and Maya Bazaar's portrayal of the woman's desire and descent still stands tall in the context of Telugu cinema. And as pointed out in our review, we wish Kalki 2898 AD could lend a stronger voice for Deepika Sumathi in her choice to give birth to her child. We also have to talk about NTR's Danavira Surakarna here, and all of you who have watched Kalki must have realized why this film is so important while talking about Nagashwin's Kalki universe. While Karna's story of misfortunes are popular, the way this film relates them to Brahmanical upper caste politics is striking. The manner in which the Eklavya story is interpolated as Karna reprimanded Drona of his caste politics for not taking Eklavya as his disciple takes considerable liberties from the more standard versions of the epic. In this film, it is Duryodhana who is quite literally the voice of justice, and more interestingly, you have NTR in triple roles, that of Duryodhan, Karna and Krishna, in a unique meta-representation. So you see how the Telugu mythologicals have also lent voice for the have-nots, the deprived, and the ones rejected from history, as we find popular heroes playing Duryodhan, Ravan or Karna breaking away from the more socially acceptable paths. The politics of language. Other than the protest in Yamagola, the other distinct feature of the film was the contrast between Yama's high-sounding classical Telugu and Satyam's rhetorical Telugu for political critique. From late 1950s, the dialogues of the mythologicals were Granthikam, a classical poetical Telugu in the interest of creating the Telugu atmosphere, an identity that comes across as timeless. It was Granthikam in which even the servants spoke as in Danavira Surakarna, thus democratizing Telugu in clear political attempt by the makers. So unlike the actors in the 1940s, those in the late 50s had to grasp on this language to speak verses, deliver monologues and avoid accents. And there lay NTR's strength in his command over this classical Telugu, as mythologicals could not be conceived without him, thus spreading his enigma all the more. With time, Granthikam slowly gave way to Vyavharikam, language of daily use, or Mandalikam, non-standard regional dialects of Telugu, as the cinema language became more absorbing. Ivaru putti chakunda matalela pudathai, said Ghatotkach in Maya Bazaar, wondering how words will be produced if nobody created them, in an intense observation on language that can only evolve through usage and cultural context. So in Kalki 2098 AD, as we hear an English punctuated Vyavharikam Telugu, from all in contrast to the somewhat Granthikam of Ashwathama, the impact might be jarring, but works for the politics of the film and the legacy of Telugu cinema. The politics of inclusion. Telugu mythological and fantasies not only had inspirations in Hindu or Indian mythology, but also beyond. The Telugu folklore genre has always been influenced by Hollywood's Orientalist fantasies and Douglas Fairbanks-style stunt that played important roles for both NTR and Akkineni Nageshwara Rao films. Pathala Bhairavi, which inspires Bahubali's opening sequences in the protagonist's relationship with his mother, draws heavily from Ali Baba and Aladdin from Arabian Nights. Singeetham Srinivas Rao's Bhairava Dweepam in 1994 is also a throwback at Pathala Bhairavi, with notable similarity in Shivudu's origin in Bahubali. There's V. Madhusudan Rao's Superman, where NTR plays an orphaned boy Raja who gains power from Lord Hanuman. And there's Sangeetam Rao's Aditya 369, a nod to Back to the Future, in which Balakrishna time travels to the Vijayanagara Empire. There were attempts at Indianizing Indiana Jones in Devi Putradu and Anji by Kodi Ramakrishna in the early 2000s, while Anushka Shetty's Arundhati had an entire pivotal sequence inspired by the House of Flying Daggers and also featured both Hindu and Muslim characters teaming up to fight the supernatural evil. So even if Kalki 2898 AD's Hollywood inspirations are obvious, do not consider it as something derivative, as you realize that the legacy of Telugu mythologicals and fantasy cinema was never bereft of outside inspirations and always thrived on inclusions. The question perhaps lies somewhere else. While there's still encashing of the mass love for mythologicals in Telugu cinema, do we still have the politics of protest continued? Or did the grey characters give way to chest thumping, curated goosebump moments with money-making propaganda in the name of mythology? In today's era of fundamentalism, or in the words of Mark Fisher, capitalistic realism, do filmmakers have the guts to steer away from canonical texts for creative and political purposes, or are they satisfied only with fan service and experimenting with the VFX CGI at their disposal? Mythologies are not about the letters of the text, but the spirit of the text, and yesteryear's Telugu cinema has uplifted the spirit well, and we hope that legacy continues more than anything else. Kalki 2098 AD certainly shows promise, if not preoccupation in that respect, as we eagerly wait for the next installment. That is all from us today. Thank you for watching.